Good morning. How's everybody doing today? How about yesterday? What did you think about yesterday's event? Good? It's exciting to be here. It's exciting to have so many of you here with us. And it's actually, I feel like a hard act to follow yesterday's event. We heard a lot of really good information and heard about our strategy from Terry. And we heard about some great technology from Don and the InterSystems teams. And our customers had some really great and very emotional stories about the benefit of what data and healthcare could do. So today we have an equally impressive lineup, maybe except for the first one. But we have an equally impressive lineup, and we're going to shift our focus to the data platform side of the business. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the key technologies that drive data platforms and drive applications across multiple industries. This morning, before we head out for the afternoon sessions, in addition to hearing from me about Iris Data Platform and our strategy and where we're investing, we have a great lineup of speakers to talk about their own experiences as well. So we have Jay Almiraj from Harris & Associates. He has a storied career in the financial services vertical and leveraging data to create great benefit for clients and for the businesses that he served. We have Simon Ellis joining us. And if I get things going here, there we go. We have Simon Ellis joining us from IDC, and he'll share some insights on the state of the art in supply and logistics, and this is something that we hear about a lot on the news every day, supply chain issues, and Simon will talk a little bit about what's going on there and how data can enable more efficient supply chains to the benefit of businesses and consumers around the world. We have, after him, we have Chris Soda joining us from UST. And he's head of the SAP practice for UST, and he'll have some real-world examples of how data can be leveraged to optimize supply and logistics operations. Then we have a real treat. We have David Kwong joining us, and he is a magician. He's also he designs crossword puzzles for the New York Times. And so we'll get a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of exercise for your minds before we then go on to the rest of the morning's event, which will include the data platform product management team, who will talk about some of the latest and greatest technologies, features, and capabilities that we've delivered in the Iris Data Platform, and hopefully give you some ideas on how you can leverage those technologies for the benefit of your businesses when you get back home from Summit. So the other thing that I have the great opportunity to talk about is in this room last night, we had demos and drinks. Most of y'all were here because it was pretty crowded, wasn't it? So the question I have is, did the demos get better after the drinks were poured? Okay, and hopefully you all remember. So we have two groups that we would like to recognize, and we had over 30 folks doing different demos of different aspects of their technologies combined with InterSystems technologies, showing some really interesting use cases. And we'd like to recognize two of them. Actually, we wish we could recognize all of them, but we'd like to recognize two groups. First is the winner of the most likely to use technology, and this is MAIA, Medical AI Assistant. And we can see our winners here. If you're here, stand up and take a bow. There they are. Thank you. And for the most innovative, we have using Fire APIs and augmented reality. So, Carl Anthony and Dr. Sherry Sultani, if you're here. Thank you for the demonstration of your innovative technologies. So as we kick off today and kind of get our minds around the data platform day and the enabling technologies that we're building, what I'd like to do is spend a little bit of time to talk about what drives us at a strategic level and how we're investing and how we think these investments can be very beneficial in the long term. And certainly yesterday, Terry mentioned the notion of companies that survive and thrive are companies that reinvent themselves all the time, taking advantage of new opportunities in the market, new technologies, and really focusing on customer success. And ultimately, that's what we have done recently. So in 2018, actually summit of 2017, but in 2018, we launched our new premier data platform offer, which is the IRIS data platform. And I'm happy to say that we've seen, since 2018, a great take rate of the new platform based on a lot of the benefits, either feature functionality or core performance, that you get out of the box with that. But this is one of those reinvent yourself kind of moments, because back in that era, we had some successful products, including Cache and Ensemble in the market, very happy customers driving lots of really mission critical applications, but the team said, gee, how can we do better? And that was really where IRIS started. And IRIS, I don't think, was originally the name of the product, but it became the name of the product because it really defines the core design principles that were built into IRIS from day one. And not in any particular order, but so that it spells IRIS. First one is it needs to be intuitive. Data can be complicated, data coming from multiple different sources, and how do I consume that data? How do I get that into my application easily without all of the complexity that can come with some more traditional data management tools? And so we wanted to make sure that we invested in the intuitive nature of the product. The second thing is that it needs to be reliable, right? We're supporting mission critical applications, certainly some of the examples we saw yesterday in healthcare, some of the examples you'll see today in financial services, supply and logistics. These are very mission critical applications, and so by their nature, it's very important that we have reliability and we're able to build trust with the product. It needs to be interoperable, and this has turned out to really be a key and foundational part of our value proposition, as you heard, as you've been hearing in the industry with the dawn of data fabrics as kind of an architecture, a logical architecture for data management. It's all about interoperability and being able to not only consume different kinds of data, but consume that data very efficiently, very effectively, and also, in some instances, be able to play that data where it lies and simply connect to the data without having to move it to take advantage of that information and the knowledge that that can impart in your analytic infrastructure. And then finally, it needs to be scalable. And so there are a lot of ways to measure scale, and we look at it as a multi-dimensional opportunity. Certainly, data volumes are scaling, and we know that it is like this natural entropy of data, and every day there's just more and more data, so those volumes are going up. With increased volume comes the opportunity to do more processing. I've got to process that data so I can take advantage of that data for the information that I'm trying to build and the applications that I'm building. I may have many users, not only internal users, but external users, and I've got to scale all of these things simultaneously in a very seamless fashion. And so these are design principles that really went into building out the next generation data platform that we ultimately called IRIS. And as Terry showed you yesterday in his slides, one measure of scalability that we've used is global references per second. And we've been on a constant increase. This slide is a little bit easier to read if it's logarithmic because this line isn't as flat as it appears. But you can see by reinventing ourselves and innovating based on the collective knowledge that we had from thousands of customers and thousands of footprints, and our knowledge of what was happening with architectures and new technology available in the industry, we've been able to really pull that together and make a big difference from a performance perspective in this measure. Similarly, the efficiency of our engine, allows us not only to scale in this axis, but also in concurrent users and data volumes and the like. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Those of you who were here last year heard a little bit about my analog life, and I like to make kind of comparisons between my analog life and hobbies and my digital life and profession. So you heard last year that I collect fountain pens. There were a number of people after my presentation who wanted to do an intervention. They thought I had lost my mind collecting these things. But I'm still doing it, and equally as crazy as last year. Another thing, however, that I really am mesmerized by is timekeeping devices and mechanical watches. And so you can see here is, for a very long time, it's been important for us as a species to kind of measure, manage, and understand time. Certainly without that understanding, we wouldn't have known to be here at 9 a.m. this morning to start this session, and so on. And over the eons and generations, technology available to inventors has changed. So on the far left, this is a focal pendulum, which is a big, heavy pendulum. I don't know, it's about 3.5 stories high. And it creates a constant oscillation, right? The laws of physics say pendulums go with a constant vector. And it's tall enough that the rotation of the Earth allows it to actually move, and you can measure time based on the angle of where the pendulum is going. The great way to measure time is highly accurate. It's a little bit hard to slip in your pocket to understand how to get to your next meeting. And then, of course, generations later, long clocks were invented, harnessing the same physical kinds of motion, but in a reduced footprint, a little bit more efficient, a little bit more scalable. People could have them in their homes. And then, of course, more recently, with mechanical wristwatches, after they came out of the pockets and were made even smaller, could fit onto your wrist. And a couple of things I think about is the technology changed through these generations, but there were some constant things that were really, really important in terms of timekeeping devices. These may sound familiar. Integration. You've got to integrate lots of moving parts to make these things work. And you've got to be able to integrate multiple different forces, physical forces, to create that measure. You got to have some precision. If it's not trusted, if it's not precise, if it's not accurate, it's pretty much useless. You want to make it easy to read, consumable, or maybe intuitive, right? And the pendulum is a little bit harder to read than hopefully a wristwatch. And you want to make sure that it's reliable, that it can be trusted, that it's accurate, you can show up to your meetings on time. And when the watchmaker gets all these things right, it creates economic value and something that we all want to purchase. So, if I go back to my digital life, there's some constants there. There's a lot of change in our industry, and the change in our industry is much more rapid than in the watchmaking industry or the timekeeping industry, which spanned hundreds, if not thousands of years. Things are happening very quickly. But a key focus on the things that are important will allow us to survive and thrive, as Terry mentioned yesterday. So taking advantage of the industry and re-innovating and focusing on that precision, the intuitive nature, the reliability, and the scalability of our products is a sustainable advantage that we intend to deliver. So I'll dig a little bit more into the different aspects of Iris: integration, precision, consumability, reliability, all key themes that are important for our data management business. So, integration and interoperability. We have the best-in-class data integration and pipelining as recognized by industry veterans. We have native API management. We have native multi-model structures, meaning you can take any kind of data and understand it natively and publish it back without doing anything special. So in today's world of edge computing and lots of data living in the cloud and on the internet, being able to to be able to integrate that in its native form and learn from it natively and efficiently is part of that story. And then, of course, what's really new here is a capability that was demonstrated in the demos and drinks last night, is our foreign table capability, a way to reach out from your application that you've already built with your known data and find data from other sources and natively integrate that seamlessly as part of your data fabric implementation. We have the most efficient data management engine, and this drives a couple of things. Certainly this drives reliability, this drives scalability, because if it's efficient at the beginning, you can deploy it on any kind of technology, and that efficiency will show through. And it will show through in global references per second. It'll show through in the efficiency of memory management, allowing multiple concurrent users and large scale out. We also have built superstructures inside of the engine that support documents, transactions, lists, and vectors. And some of these things also were distributed, will also be highlighted in the Tech Exchange. And these capabilities are built to be intuitive to allow you to do very specific jobs in your application with a high degree of efficiency. We're self-managing and we have guaranteed resilience. And this is one of the things that I think is a really great advantage that we have in the platform versus some superscalers that are out there with microservices, because the superscalers keep multiple copies of the data, which means your application has to synchronize those copies of the data, and you have to keep track of that yourself. Because we do it in a highly efficient, centralized global module, it's automatically synchronized, and you don't have to worry about it. That has a lot to do with our ability to be reliable and certainly trusted in terms of making sure that your data are always maintained and never get lost. We are self-managing. You'll see later this morning with some of our new cloud offers, especially the self-management capability and the elasticity that we've built in, so that you can consume only the resources that are required based on the job that you want to do. And you can make those resources ephemeral, meaning they can go away when you no longer need them to run your application. Finally, we have a new feature that we'll be highlighting this week called Columnar. You'll see a demonstration of that later this morning and the advantages that Columnar brings to the overall efficiency and scale of your data and the analytic workloads. We're committed to consumability, or being intuitive. A hallmark of this is the fact that we're multilingual, built in from scratch. You can speak SQL, you can speak Python, you can speak Java, you can speak ObjectScript. So however your application is designed, however you want to interact with the data, whatever the most appropriate algorithm is to get the job done, we can speak that natively without any translation in between. And we do that in the main memory space of the database for the highest degree of efficiency. We also, with the embedded Python and the multilingual capabilities as an extension, many machine learning algorithms that are driving the latest AI applications are written in Python. So we can consume those libraries and execute them next to the data instead of what most other data management software vendors require you to take the data and move it to the AI engine. We actually move the AI engine to the data. It's a much more efficient process, and again, it's more resilient, more scalable, and certainly more reliable to execute in this fashion. From a consumability and intuitiveness, we also get into the creature comforts of how the software works, not just the language, but how you consume the software. And so, whether it be in a traditional on-premises, whether it be infrastructure as a service running in a public cloud, as a fully managed service, or now as software as a service offers that do discrete jobs, we've created multiple points of interaction, and you'll see, later this morning, you'll see us demonstrate how easy it is to drag and drop and take advantage of that technology and get it embedded in highly agile applications that you're building. And then finally, you'll see in the Tech Exchange that we're launching a couple of new smart data services, including SQL as a service and machine learning as a service available in the marketplace on AWS for you to go build those ephemeral and agile applications. Finally, we're committed to reliability, whether it be the fact that our overall architecture being integrated in a single place allows us to optimize for reliability. So architecturally, there's some advantages that are built in. We certainly have, over the 45 years, learned from the thousands of footprints and applications that we've supported how to make these things reliable. And I asked the slide makers, on my other slides, they had a thing that said new, and it popped up. Not new, world-class support and education, remaining committed to making sure that we have best-in-class support, that we can get problems solved very quickly and urgently on your timeline, as well as education to make it all easy to consume and use. So I talked about Iris, intuitive, reliable, interoperable, and scalable. And we went through some of the capabilities there, including data integration and the advantage of efficient data integration. Talked about consumability models of cloud and cloud-based managed services. And I'm thrilled now to have a video of one of our clients, Northwest London, and they'll tell their story of how they're taking advantage of this technology for integration, interoperability as a completely hands-off managed service.
Technology is key to the real-time transfer of patient clinical data.
Crossing those health and social care boundaries, so ensuring that we're able to develop faster, more efficiently and at scale across the North West London ICS. Hi, I'm Matthew Kybert, Deputy Chief Information Officer for System Solutions, and I cover Imperial, Hillingdon and London North West. So in North West London, we've got a strategy where we're consolidating on a single electronic patient record across our organisations. So it made sense that we try and consolidate on other technologies such as integration. We already had an existing footprint of InterSystems within the sector, and by consolidating on the cloud technology, we were able to bring our teams together, because what we were finding was we were working on the same integrations with the same downstream systems. So consolidating on that was one of the reasons why we came together as a collaborative.
Hi, I'm Raghu Kumar. I work as an integration architect and I manage Northwest London development and support teams. The scope of the work we are doing with InterSystems includes hosting all our integration engine on their cloud and maintain it. That includes the operating system upgrades and vulnerability checks, data integrity checks, and data management 24/7 support.
Hello, I'm John Littlewood. I am Head of Application Development at Chelsea and Westminster Hospital. One of the major benefits of the cloud-hosted solution is that being a managed service, we are running on the latest versions of the application. We're running on supported operating systems and infrastructure, which means that existing staff do not need to devote time to keeping those operating systems infrastructure up to date.
Hi, I'm Rakesh Palichola. I'm the Head of Testing and the Managed Integration Service at Imperial College NHS Trust. By moving the integration engine into the cloud, we are using less resources to develop what we are developing at the moment. Because rather than developing the interfaces, testing them and deploying them 4 times, we're only doing it once in the cloud. And the resources who are actually freed up, we can use them to deliver more integration work for the clinicians who always require more, who need more interface systems.
We're fairly early on in our journey for the migration to the cloud product, so we've set expectations that it's a multi-year programme.
The response has been positive. It's a big learning curve for everybody, but it's a positive learning curve.
To date, we've migrated around 40 interfaces from our on-premise environments.
The training and the approach, and we made the whole platform easy for people to adapt and cooperate with the migration process and achieve it in the timescales.
One of the really good things is about the end users. They haven't really noticed when we have changed those interfaces, which is a good thing.
Technology is key to the real-time transfer of patient clinical data from one system to another.
Integrated care system is all about bringing the organizations together and share the resources, data.
It's also going to support us bringing our teams together to work more efficiently as we form as an ICS.
It's important to citizens because they want the clinicians to have the latest information about their clinical health and their clinical conditions.
Great, and I'd like to thank the Northwest London team who's here with us for being a client. Thank you. Your photo op. Thanks very much. So in a rapidly changing world, now with the dawn of generative AI and large language models, we believe that focusing on our key differentiation with integration, precision, consumability, reliability, basically lining up to the design criteria that we built into Iris, is a sustainable advantage that we'll continue investing in to adopt these new technologies, as well as re-innovating around the algorithms that we've built to create higher performance, higher scalability, the best reliability and support experience possible. And you'll see, again, throughout the afternoon, examples of the latest innovations that we've delivered inside of that platform. We're far from done. We'll be talking a little bit about smart data services and the advantages that we can bring in consumability for data-centric kinds of services, where this is like where microservices meets an enterprise data platform, and you get the best of both worlds. Easy consumability, easy deployability, easy to use intuitive commands and controls, ephemeral workloads, but all of the benefit of that integrated platform behind the scenes, creating scalability, creating trusted transactions inside of the data fabric. And the way that I like to think about it is kind of like going from my old watch to this watch, where you now have connected services that can be integrated inside of the platform in a trusted way where it's easy to consume. So we look forward to the next 45 years and continuing to focus on those key differentiations and creating value for our partners and for our clients who are building applications with us.